Info.
Good morning, Pacific, where the video surfaced online. We had some Rivers women who had gone to attend the Renewed Hope Initiative Empowerment, which held in Port Harcourt, by the way. It was organized by the Office of the First Lady. And if you know, the First Lady has been going around many states in the South, with programs, empowerment schemes, and commissioning, and so on and so forth. She's been to Delta State as well, if you remember. She's also, I think, been to Bayelsa State, if I remember correctly. So it's something that, yes, you would say has been going on. And then in Rivers State, this empowerment initiative, Renewed Hope Empowerment Initiative, was put up. Now, unfortunately, what caught the attention of many wasn't the good intention of that program, but then what happened during the program, as we saw in the video that surfaced online. So some Rivers women who were part of that program had got up and walked out. Now, they did this upon the taking to the stage of the wife of the state administrator, the sole administrator of the state, Dr. Teresa Ibas. She had approached the podium to speak, and in that footage, a section of the crowd, some now say these women are supporters of the suspended governor, stood up and began chanting, "We want Sim." That video is everywhere on social media, but I'll just play you a part of what it sounded like. Okay, so if you go on social media and watch from the beginning of it, it didn't actually start with "First we want him." It started in the hall first, where while the conversation was going, and then I think you would have heard the wife of the sole administrator come up and say, trying to talk to Rivers women, and she said, I can't remember exactly the word, but if I'll paraphrase, something along the lines of, "Oh, Rivers women, you are wonderful, I'm one of you," and that kind of conversation. And then you had people that say no, and then some people got up and says, "No, this is not who we wanted to see," and then bring back Sim. One person echoed that, and the moment one person echoed that, it became a thing, and then everybody started walking out. And then on the streets, when they came out, you would then hear the "We want Sim" chants and all of that. But one of the women, while they were walking away on the road, actually paused and spoke to camera. And this was what she said. It was quite interesting because what I heard her say kind of prompted me to ask more questions about the whole, event and what happened. But let's listen first to what the woman said.
We were told to come out and welcome Her Excellency Senator Remi Tinubu, and we dressed up. See me in my double wrapper. We were so happy to welcome Her Excellency because we are appreciative of her goodwill to us and the empowerment program. We stood up and left because Rivers women, we are not fragile. We have a governor, we love our governor, we support our governor, we have a first lady, and we are just saying one governor at a time, one president at a time. We have a president that we support. We have our mommy of the nation that is empowering women in Rivers State today that we so love and we support.
Okay, so that's one of the women speaking, not exactly the audio I wanted to play, but that's one of them. But there's a particular audio that I would like us to listen to of one of the women who was trying to narrate what had happened in our own opinion, because this is what this particular woman said. I'd like us to.
We were deceived yesterday. They told us that the amiable governor of Rivers State, Sasinalaya Fubara, wife is hosting the women, the DUI event center, only for us to come here and see one contact panel woman being who I don't know, a wife that address us. What rights do they have to address us?
Okay, so yes, I would have to also apologize for how she used her words and the choices of language there. Would have to apologize for that. But then what she was trying to say was that the women, if you get the first part, were deceived. They were not told that who was there representing the First Lady was the wife of the sole administrator, and clearly pissed, as they sounded, was at the fact that, well, they do not believe that the wife of the sole administrator was in a place to address them. Now, in my findings, I had to speak with some of the women who were part of that group of women that walked out during the empowerment program. And I was asking the women what exactly happened. And one of them had told me that the day before, which was on a Thursday, they got the information really late, which was also a problem for them. They got the information just the day before the event itself, which was first a problem. And so they had to hurriedly galvanize the women together and then printed shirts. And then if you look at the pictures on the shirts, it was based on the information they were given. So according to the report I was given, or what story I was told, the president's wife was having that. And then they were also supposed to have the wife of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Abbas, Tajuddin Abbas. His wife was also supposed to be there. I think, and then also, according to the reports, the wife of the suspended governor was also supposed to be present. Now, this individual told me that was what the information they got, and it was based on that information they had to try to galvanize and prepare themselves to attend that event on the Friday after they got the information on Thursday morning. So, and then upon getting to the place, she also told me that they saw the wife of the sole administrator there from the beginning, and nobody walked out, according to the story I was told, because they're expecting, okay, it's okay for her to be here if she wants to be here. But where the problem started was when they realized that they didn't see they were expecting to be spoken to by the wife of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, which was the information they got prior to that day. And so when everybody decided to walk out was when the wife of the sole administrator came on and said things along the lines of, like I said, I'll just paraphrase because I can't exactly remember word for word what she said. But she said things around the line of, one of you are Rivers women, you're strong, you're this, and that was how whatever happened afterwards happened. At least I'm trying to put the story in proper background to the story. But now these are the very important questions that are now being asked, or should be asked, I think, after all of these that have happened. Number one, as some have said, with the kind of government that we have at the moment in Rivers State, where it is we're in an emergency rule, we have a sole administrator, it is not the usual democratically elected system of government. Some people have said, would it have changed things if perhaps we had maybe somebody from the Ministry of Women Affairs appointed, or maybe a permanent secretary appointed to speak or represent the First Lady, or perhaps somebody else to represent that the people, perhaps the ladies, would have seen as theirs because of the specific nature of the system of government in Rivers State at the moment. That's one argument. Another argument is, well, if the First Lady of the Federal Republic chose to have appointed the wife of the sole administrator, which I'm pretty sure many would be waiting to get confirmations of to know whether or not the First Lady did that. But if she was there, it would only mean that the First Lady perhaps would have appointed her to. Was that move the right one, or shouldn't the women have also looked at it and said, well, let's not create a scene? There's also that argument. Let's not create a scene. Let's just allow it flow. That's also another argument. Then the third part of it is, according to the voice of that woman, if they were given the wrong information and then they got to that place, is it possible that whoever passed the message did not appropriately pass the message? And maybe if the women had known from the start that this is the wife of the sole administrator would be addressing them, they may not have attended that event. Was there a break in the communication line? Did somebody not say or pass the message as well as they should? these three perspectives now standing out at the moment. For some people, it is unnecessary to have acted in that manner, regardless of what the situation was or how anything looked like. For some others, well, they are just only standing up to speak for their rights because maybe to some of these women, they do not see or accept the wife of the sole administrator to be one of them, and hence they don't think that she's in a place to speak to them. She can attend the event, but not to address them as Rivers women. Now that was another argument, and this was a perspective that was said to me directly when I spoke to some of the women who were there. They said, we don't have a problem with the wife of the sole administrator attending any event or coming for events. We saw her there when we got there and everybody was okay. But what we cannot take is her addressing us as Rivers woman because we do not believe that she fits that role. Now that became another conversation. At the end of the day, opinions will continue to fly. And this might linger for quite a while. We have seen the comments of the rep of the NDDC, for Rivers State rep of the NDDC and APC chairman in Rivers State, Tony Okocha, on this. We've also gotten the response of the FCT minister through his media aid on this, on X. And all of the statements, in fact, for the FCT ministers, the statement directly was saying, if you disrespect whoever was sent to represent the First Lady, you're already indirectly disrespecting the president. Then there are those that have argued, again, I would repeat, because I asked questions and they said, well, they are not sure because the information they got was not that the sole administrator's wife would be the person representing the First Lady. So there's also something that needs to be understood in that middle. We would hope that in the coming days, more statements will come out and things will become clearer. But this was what turned out. If you looked at that video, the one I played of the woman who said they were deceived, she went on to specifically also say that they don't have a problem with the First Lady. That who they know is the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So the question now would be, if that's who they respect, did the First Lady appoint the wife of the sole administrator to represent her at that event? And if she did, then doesn't that mean that you'd have to respect her? Okay. But then on the other side, they said this was who we were told was going to be there. The wife of the Speaker of the House of Reps, Tajuddin Abbas. So now we see where this stands. A short commercial is around the corner. When we come back, we'll open the phone lines. I hope that I've been able to put out the perspectives properly so you understand the whole situation, and then now we get your response as to what you think. Would it have been better from one side to say, well, because of the peculiarity of the government in Rivers State, let us perhaps have, if we had had a permanent secretary represented there, if the government had thought it wise to say, okay, the First Lady perhaps said, well, because of the peculiarity, let's do it this way so that we do not ruffle any feathers and everybody is calm on either side of the divide. Fantastic. But some other people say, well, if the First Lady is at liberty to choose who to represent her, and if this is who she has chosen, well, that person should be respected. Or the women saying, no, we were deceived. This was what we were told the day before, and that was what we prepared for. And then we got there and we saw this. No, we don't have a problem with the wife of the sole administrator being there, but we just have a problem with her referring to herself or speaking to us as though she's from Rivers State as well. That we can't accept. After the break, we'll get your thoughts on what you think about the walkout. Stay with us.
Stay with us. 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Upper State is what the time is. The conversation continues here on Nigeria Info. My name is Ifeyemi Andrew. We've been looking at the incident over the weekend, on Friday precisely, last week, where some women walked out during a renewed initiative empowerment program that was held in Port Harcourt. They had walked out upon the taking to the stage of the wife of the sole administrator of Rivers State, Dr. Theresa Ibas. She had approached the podium to speak, and in the viral footage online, we all saw what happened. I tried to give us a background to the whole story. And I was also telling us about the reactions that has greeted those stories. We had one first from the FCT minister. I highlighted some of the things he said recently. We also had today the Chief Tony Okocha led APC in Rivers State expressing concern, describing some of these protests as sponsored, and then citing, of course, what had happened over last week. You then also remember part of what was said by the FCT minister condemning the walkout on the representative of the First Lady. In fact, this was what the minister said. The minister apologized to the First Lady and the President, saying insulting anyone representing the First Lady in an event is a direct insult to the office of the President of the Commander-in-Chief. The FCT minister then described the incident as disturbing and embarrassing. He then asked the governor to be bold enough to tell the President what exactly he wanted, rather than saying something today and doing another thing tomorrow. Now, this is a statement signed by Mrs. Tonye Briggs, DSSRS. She's the state coordinator, Renewed Hope Initiative, and a response to some of these things and the position as well. Okay, so the statement, I'll read part of it. It says the attention of the state office of the Renewed Hope Initiative has been drawn to a regrettable and misleading statement issued by the media office of the Honorable Minister of the FCT, which unjustly attempts to drag the name of the governor into an unfortunate narrative surrounding the empowerment program and all that happened. Okay. It went on to say the governor is a strong supporter of the Renewed Hope Initiative and remains deeply committed to the vision. Now, this is the part I want us to get. She says in this statement, the event was progressing successfully with the women of Rivers State expressing overwhelming appreciation for the initiative until a disruption occurred when Mrs. Theresa Ibas, wife of the state sole administrator, was making a speech. At that point, the women in attendance vocally opposed her participation, stating clearly that they did not recognize her as their First Lady and would prefer not to be addressed by her. Now, it went on to say to insinuate that the governor would sabotage a program he actively supported and funded is not only illogical, but patently false. So this was a response from them. It went on to say a couple of other things. But I think highlighting how the governor of Rivers State, now suspended, has been very supportive and had consistent support for women-focused initiatives. And, went on to say... the empowerment program in the state was a resounding success. All stakeholders, including the women beneficiaries, were pleased with the organization and the outcome. So, urging the public to disregard the unsubstantiated claims by the media aide to the FCT minister. Well, so this is every side to this coin. And now we'll get to hear your thoughts about the situation. One thing, though, that I would look forward to being addressed was first a confirmation, because that's a big question that's going around, on who did the First Lady appoint to represent her. That's one. And secondly, the suggestions that with the peculiarity of the government in quote in Rivers State, I mean, we know that right now we're in an emergency rule, and because it's an emergency rule, certain things don't exist, like office of the First Lady and so on and so forth, and these things, we don't have them running in the system. Some have said, what about having someone like a permanent secretary or somebody else represent the First Lady? Would that not have worked? Again, the First Lady is at liberty to pick whoever she wants to represent her. Oh, it's a lot. And the part of the woman who says, They were deceived because the information that they were given or they got the day before the event was quite different. The guests and who was supposed to speak to them and what they were expected to meet was different from what they saw when they eventually arrived. Hence, what happened in the videos we've been seeing on social media. So let's get your thoughts. On WhatsApp, you can send messages to 0809 030 6416 0809 0306416. That is the message, the number you can send your WhatsApp messages to. If you want to call, then use the number 0817-923 0003. What do you make of the women walking out? For some, well, the women are standing up to what they believe is unfair and is wrong. For others, they should have not done that. Regardless of what the situation was, they would have just stayed, because doing that would only amplify the political tension in Rivers State. These are the sides to the arguments in all of this. At the end, the question would be, what do you think is right? Well, 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0007. Those are numbers that you can call to be a part of the conversation this morning. Those women that staged the walkout from the program are the real heroes of democracy in the state. I'm very proud of them. Clever Sonny, you sent that message in. The JJ and Romigbo, let's start with you. Good morning.
Yeah, Andrew, good morning.
Yeah.
I don't know, there was some times ago during the Liberia Civil War, a guy they called Samuel Doe was killed in that war, and people were crying all over Nigeria. They were thinking that it's Commando, that is Arnold Schwarzenegger, because at then they were calling him Commando. So when they hear Samuel Doe, they thought it was Commando. I think Abbas and Ibas are two different persons. So if you are expecting Mrs. Abbas and you now see Mrs. Ibas, they are not the same people now. I think it's very easy here. If Mrs. Ibas know that it was she that the president sent, or is it Mrs. Abbas that now sent Mrs. Ibas, let her show us the letter that they sent to her, the president's wife say, go and represent me. There should be a correspondent, two of us. Because sometimes ago, when the president's wife, I think it was 2-3 weeks ago, was in Bayelsa, she was also preparing to go, and she was told that, look, we don't want you here in Bayelsa. And don't forget that the husband has been looking for legitimacy. That's why he frowned seriously at the NBA, also frowned at the NLC for not allowing him to come take salute, and so many other areas. So for me as a person, this thing is very simple. The president's wife needs to speak, or Iba's wife needs to show us, it's a digital world now, show us that this is what and what the president asked me to come do, because the people cannot hear a different person that they are bringing to talk with them and now see another person. That is not legitimate.
All right, JJ.
Accepting other will be accepting illegitimacy that does not even augur well with them at all.
All right, JJ. But we'll also have to agree that she is the wife of the sole administrator at the moment and also deserves to be respected in some capacity. I'm pretty sure anybody would agree with that. And that's the reason why I would encourage that, when you talk about the sole administrator or the wife of the sole administrator, the choice of language and words are well put to respect the office. At the time as we are now, the sole administrator is in charge of governance in Rivers State at this particular time. And that would mean that his office gets the respect and the respect also has to flow down to his wife. Obed in Ada George, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
Mm.
Andrew, I believe what the women did that day was a protest, right? If yes, Andrew, is there any law that says people should not protest or on whoever that is addressing them? You see, in Nigeria, we're trying to celebrate mediocrity. In as much as I know the so-called empowerment is politically motivated, I will tell you that the women, they are not wrong. Whoever that is addressing them, they have the right to protest. That is one thing we must take into consideration. What they did is protest. We should always hammer on that. It's a protest for them to express their displeasure over the illegally removal of the governor. That is what they did. Either any king or the Prince of Peace or whoever is addressing them, they have demonstrated, and that is protest, for crying out loud. Do they have right? Yes, they have right to protest. And this is a message to the sole administrator and the wife who hurriedly jumped there to represent the first lady, even though we have never seen any letter.
I don't think, Obed, again, I don't think she hurriedly jumped there. She must have been introduced by the master of ceremony. We have to put that into context. It's not like she was sitting down there and then she just jumped and took the mic and went. No, that would be, speaking out of terms. She was introduced.
Andrew.
So I don't think the point is I think we should also recognize that you can't put the blame on her totally to say she just went there. No.
Nobody is saying that sole administrator is not in government house. But so long as sole administrator is in government house, and if anybody protests, it's not treasonable felony. That is just the truth. So where is the letter that warranting her to represent first lady? Let them publish that letter. And if anybody is criticizing these women on what they have done, I think we should try to cast our mind back. Aba Road were blocked for about 3 weeks for a sponsored protest by the former governor. Let's take that into consideration. We know all these things. Internet does not lie. That is just the truth. So the women have told the whole world that the sole administrator, like the River State, is illegal. That is what.
All right. Obed, thank you. Let's go to Rumudara now. God's Power, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, my name is Aiba God's Power.
Mm.
Andrew, I completely agree with the statement made by Chief Tunokocha this morning condemning the protest, because I don't know how long with the sponsored protest against the sole administrator and the government of River State, it will not do us any good. Andrew, like you said, that the wife of the sole administrator did not just jump out to speak on the stage. And this is the height of disrespect and insincerity on the side of those that protested that stayed the walkout. Andrew, are you aware that after the protest, the stage walkout, they went back to collect those items? Are you aware?
Oh, they came for the program. It was an empowerment program they came for. So why wouldn't they collect it?
Well, I'm coming. If they were sincere and angry with the way they have painted it, they wouldn't have taken any of these items. And those items are presented by the wife of the sole administrator. God's
Power. They might no. They might. It wasn't that initiative was put together by the First Lady of the Federal Republic. It's a renewed hope program that has been going around different states in the country, not just Rivers State. So it wasn't put together or organized by the wife of the sole administrator. No, it wasn't. The women came for that program. So let's.
It was put up by the wife of the president.
Yes.
But the sole administrator was here to speak on behalf of the president, and disrespecting the wife of the sole administrator, disrespecting the wife of the president, according to Chipolo Kocha.
But that's the argument now.
If they were really angry, they wouldn't have taken any of those items. If they were really angry, they would have taken a walkout out of the premises entirely. But they went back, the same woman, the same vice chairman, went back, led the women, and went to collect those items. What are we saying? How long are we continuing to do this? This will jeopardize the peace not part of those that are protesting, but he has kept mute, he has kept quiet. So it is not clear that he's the one sending them to protest.
No, God's power. I will take that. I think I'll correct you on that one. First off, the women did not go there to protest. I think if you say it was organized, what you mean is before they left on Thursday, they had planned, which means which would mean that they knew who was going to be there, who was going to speak on behalf of the First Lady. Let's paint the picture. That's what it would mean. If we're thinking critically and logically, it would mean that they already knew that the wife of the sole administrator was the person who was going to speak to them. So it was an opportunity for them to protest. So on Thursday, they had planned that, when we get to this, what we're going to do. But if you followed the event or the statements from all the sides, it did not say this. That's why I think using the word, they staged the walkout to express their displeasure. It wasn't at the First Lady. They only were expressing the displeasure at the wife of the sole administrator addressing them, because according to them, they felt she was not she doesn't carry the capacity to be speaking to them as Rivers women. That was their explanation. It wasn't at the First Lady. So perhaps it's the reason why they still went, because they had no problem with the First Lady or the program. So they still participated in the program, but did not want the sole administrator's wife to address them. That was the grouse. So just so we understand, it wasn't, the program was not a protest. It was an initiative that was set up to empower women. Nelson from Bori, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
Yeah.
Is there any office like the office of the wife of the sole administrator?
You'd have to turn down the volume of your radio, Mr. Nelson.
Okay. I said, is there any office like the office of the wife of the sole administrator?
None that I'm aware of.
So the woman has no right to speak to Rivers women. See, these are what we don't want. We want our governor back. We want our governor back. We want the wife back. We want our First Lady back.
But Nelson, don't you think the approach, like what happened, could heighten or is going to heighten the political tension in Rivers State?
No, that is so.
Oh, Nelson, I wish you could have stayed on longer. Letambari from Bori, good morning.
Good morning, Ifeanyi Andrew.
Yeah.
If it be, I need to put up something, and that we need to also recognize this fact. I think most times when we make some arguments, we need to look left and right. And if I'm saying I am not doing a thing, I will not dare tamper what belongs to you if I don't want you. I will not dare it. Putting myself straight that this thing I'm saying is my right, and I'm not going to change my mood. For any reason, I'm not going to be influenced. Most times I say that the problem Governor Sim Fobra is having are his supporters, because they are trying to condemn a thing and doing it from the other way round, making it very controversial, as if they don't have the direction, or they just get up without an advice, reasoning what this thing might bring, and they will just do it. Let it be that they have done it. Whatever comes behind it is not their business. I think it is so sincere for them. There is nobody who is a politician who don't send a representative when he or she does not have chance. And there is no need for somebody to begin to show a paper that I am the one sent to represent this person before everybody will agree. I think either that woman was sent by the wife of the president, or maybe the president's wife sent somebody and that person does not have chance, and maybe rearrange the wife of the sole administrator to say, represent me, or represent the wife of the president. I don't think that has gone out of hand. Protest is not bad, but you protested against something, and in the other way around are looking for those same things.
No, Tambari, I think we're pushing a narrative that was not what happened. Then I need to step in here, if you'd allow me, to put the picture so you understand and respond accordingly. The women did not protest against the initiative. They did not stand up and say, we don't want the initiative. That was not why they stood up. They were not even against the sole administrator being present at the event. That's so we understand. That's why I took my time to put out all sides of the story so you understand the background. The women did not say we do not want the wife of the sole administrator at this event. They didn't say that. They did not even protest against that because the event had been going on. The wife of the sole administrator was there. All the women were there. Everything was going on smoothly. When the problem started was when the wife of the sole administrator mounted the podium to address Rivers women. That was what they protested against. They said in their, no, she does not qualify to be addressing us as Rivers women. She's not a Rivers woman, perhaps, paraphrasing their point. And so they had their grouse with her addressing them, not with her being at the event or a problem with the event. So they did not have a problem with the First Lady or the event in itself. So we understand. So which meant, what possibly that meant was the moment perhaps
somebody who is not even part of that state. So why such a situation does not call for that kind of tension or protest? It is totally wrong. Let's see that this thing was not done properly, and that is why it's bringing an eyebrow up against the governor of Rivers State, the Siminalayi Fubara. That's why the FCT minister is against what happened, because he thinks that arrangement was made by the governor, and with the way that thing is staged, so definitely everybody will respect the governor.
But later, Barry, let me ask this question. Let me ask you this question. So are you saying that the governors made a call from his house and told the women in the hall to get up and leave?
Definitely you will not know.
So if we don't know that, why are you saying that the governor is the person that must have been sponsoring it? Good news from our three. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, my brother, man.
You're welcome.
You see, all what we are saying, we all know the truth. And the truth is glaring in our face. For Tony Okocha, who made this statement, I don't blame him. The statement he made is to make sure that Wike, his Oga, does not get angry at him.
No, good news, that's not true. We have sponsored protests in Rivers State politics, and you know. So, no. Don't.
I'm alleging now. I'm alleging. He will come out and said that the protest they made was against the president. And he made it. He said that after Larry spoke for minister who condemned and alleged Fubara sponsored, he never heated the way he used to hit when something happened in his tracks. That's what I'm saying. The reason why he came out to speak is because he doesn't want his Oga, the FC minister, to be angry at him that things happened, he kept quiet. That is one. You come to the issue at hand. All that states this program happens, they have governor's wife. The president's wife, the one he could not go, he sends people to represent him. He sends people, not the wife of the governor from that state. Mention the place he sent the wife of the governor from the state to represent him without an external person standing beside that governor's wife. How much more in Rivers State, where there is sole administrator, that something like that is happening? Nobody, as a external person, was there to address the women of Rivers State. Number one. And two, people are alleging that the women who protested went back. Can they tell us, show us pictures of women that went back? Because in the video, there are some women that are still seated down. Those ones are pro.
All right, good news.
Now, finally,
we have to go for a commercial now.
What's your reason? Oh, everybody gather round.